Alright, y'all, just got off work. Of course, this is week 3 at my new job. So far, so good. So far, so good. As y'all seen on my picture post on my YouTube channel, you know, they put on the bulletin board, welcome Adrian to the job. Like I said, so far, I'm really liking it. You know, it's definitely a breath of fresh air, new chapter in my life. You know, it got its pros. So far, it's not having a whole lot of cons, which is good, which is really good. It's not a whole bunch that I don't like. I mean, obviously, we all wish we could, you know, make a certain amount, but hey, when you're trying to get back employed, you gotta take a little bit, you gotta give a little bit, you know what I mean? But to, you know, come in and, you know, do a job and be appreciated and not have to hear all this complaining and group text messages and sitting in meetings and just feel like you never doing anything right, and, you know, you wouldn't even talk to your children the way sometimes my previous job would do. You know, I can get used to this. I can really get used to it. You know, sometimes you want to leave a job and, you know, leave it on your terms and, you know, go out with a bang, which I kind of did in my exit meeting from my other job. You know, I didn't hold back. So even if they wanted to, you know, potentially bring me back, I think it was just time to end, you know, for that chapter to end and begin a new chapter. You know, I always believe when the writing's on the wall, don't try to use a, you know, whiteout or, you know, or eraser and sit up here and try to, you know, correct, you know, something that shouldn't even be corrected. It happened for a reason. A lot of things will continue to happen, you know, that I couldn't control. You know, I made my mistakes. I don't think it, you know, warrant, you know, what ended up ultimately happening, me having to leave the job. But hey, I'm with a new company now, and I feel appreciated. You know, people speak. People tell me how I'm doing a good job. Like I said, you know, my boss is cool. I don't have nobody hounding me all the time. You know, always, you know, micromanaging, coming around like a, you know, like they a correctional officer or something, like I can't do my job. And, you know, that's something that I like. You know, as you see, I got my uniform, I got my badge, uniform, everything within the first 2 weeks. I've already, you know, got what I need to, you know, to pretty much do my job. So, you know, as crazy as it sounds, I actually look forward to coming to work. And I know the pay is going to come with it. I'm pretty much making what I was making at the other job. But I did get good news that they pretty much, you know, do yearly raises. So that's a good thing. So when I make a year at the job, you know, I get to get evaluated and, you know, bump up my pay. So that's always good to be able to, you know, move up with a company if that's what's in your cards. You know, I'm obviously not as close to the house as to, you know, to my living arrangements as my other job was. I'm in a medical center area, so that's something definitely different. You know, I haven't been working in a medical center in a long time, so, you know, you got to get used to that. And if I was driving, that would be the other con. Man, you have to pay so much, man, when you work in a medical center, man. It just don't make no sense. It's like you gotta make, you know, a certain amount to even work in a medical center. That's why a lot of people, if you're a Houstonian, you know what I'm talking about. You know exactly what I'm talking about. You know, a lot of people that make way more, 2 times more than me, have to basically work, have to go park, you know, at a parking ride because they charge so much to park just to go to work. So, you know, luckily that's not luckily, but sometimes unluckily, that's not really my only way of getting home. Gotta go up here and catch the train, public transportation for now. I know within a year or so, I'm gonna get things where I need it, where I'm having me a vehicle, and can go and come as I please, stuff like that, man. But to go basically not working consistently, working at, working the rodeo and working little spot dates to now Monday through Friday, I know I'm working. Weekends, I'm off. Certain little holiday breaks. That does a lot for a man that's always been a provider, always, made a way for himself and his family. So it was kind of hard working for a company that, didn't always have a lot of work for me. And I had a lot of downtime. But in that downtime, I got more closer to God. He showed me who was real, who was really in my corner. He made me open my eyes and really see who really didn't have my back, who really was just fronting. I will say that I was disappointed in a lot of people that I thought kept it 100, but they barely kept it 5 or 10. And he also showed me some people that I didn't know really had my back like that. You know what I'm saying? They never turned their back on me. In fact, we got closer. So, with that being said, got my first 2 weeks in the books. Company seems to like my work, my performance. So far, a lot of people that come up to me tell me a lot of good things. I haven't really heard any gossip or any negative things that you normally hear with a company. So that's good. That's really, really, really good. When you get with a company, that's the first thing you hear. Oh yeah, the boss think he this. Boss think he that. Watch out for this employee. Just all the negative stuff. I ain't heard no negative from my employees, from the security officers that work. Everybody really got something good to say. And I know they ain't on payroll. So therefore, they ain't on payroll. So therefore, they ain't got no excuse to be sitting up here just being all positive about a job when it got a lot of negatives. So whatever negatives is there, it must not be that much. Might not be that bad to where people ain't spewing out the negative. And it ain't no secret, I'm a custodian, so I've worked in a lot of places that's been filthy and they don't appreciate custodians. We don't get backed up in a lot of jobs, but this one, they not really filthy like that. So you're able to kind of do a really, really good job without having to really feel like you're being rushed. But I'm gonna wait on my train so I can get where I need to go. I'll pick back up when I get to the house and conclude my first 2 weeks at the job and kind of really give y'all a little bit more in-depth details on how I like it. All right. I was kind of tired last night, so I didn't really pick up when I came back home. Yeah, I didn't pick up when I came back home because I'm normally working at 8:30 to 5. Now I'm working at 1 to 9:30, 1 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. So, yeah, I kind of just came home, kind of relaxed, watched a little TV, and went on ahead and laid it down. But now I gotta be at work at 1, like I said. So I'm heading out, not too early, but not at the last minute. Because one of the perks of being at my job is we don't have a big gym, but we got a gym to stay fit. So therefore, I am trying to stay fit. I am trying to, I do believe in health as well. So, I do what I can when I'm at home. Of course, my job insist that we, lift heavy things, furniture, all types of stuff, use different cleaning machines and stuff that, you know, it takes a strong person to do it. So I'm never gonna be too out of shape. So if I ain't lifting at the house, I'm definitely lifting stuff at work. And, it's good to, have some type of gym at work, because I'm not able to afford right now to be doing my gym membership. So, I could do the little ab machine, the little arm curl. They got some dumbbells. I think they got like a bicycle, stuff like that. So it's pretty good for me to be able to get in there and do what I need to do. Give me a good pump, get the blood flowing, and then be ready to start my shift at 1 o'clock. So that is one of the perks of having this job, is that I do have a gym. They usually keep little knickknacks for us to eat. If we have headaches, they got Advil, they got Tylenol. They have pretty much first aid kits on every floor. So that's a good thing. They doing pretty good on keeping equipment, up to date. They doing a pretty good job on supplies. We pretty much put our supply list in when we need it, and for the most part, we get everything that we need. So that, like I said, as long as you're handling your business at this job, they pretty much stay off of you. And that's what I'm pretty much noticing. So I try to stay on top of everything that I need to do, and, build relationships with the clients, to make sure, everything is the way they like it. So far, so good. As you can tell, it's another hot day in H-Town. It's beaming. I'm gonna have to ask my job, can they give me a bucket hat for the summer? Since it's already, basically about to start summer, a lot of these school districts is out. My kids got one more day of regular school, and then they gotta go, do a little summer school, unfortunately. But hey, sometimes you have to learn on your own. Pops, your mom can tell you things, and sometimes people won't learn the hard way. So right now, I'm walking to go catch my bus and get on to the medical center, where people going down there to do something with themselves, either find employment, already got employment. Unfortunately, some people have to go to the hospital because of health issues. But me, I'm going to go ahead and get this workout, start my work. And it's kind of good to get out of my area. I could have found something that was closer to home. But I said, you know what, now let me find something where I can kind of get out of my area for a little minute. Not have to see the same people all the time. Because I do eventually want to move. And hopefully I can at the end of the year. So this is a start. I'm back being employed. Go to work, chop it up with the security officers. And that's the good thing. You got security officers that they take the job serious, but they ain't uptight to where they sit up here, being rude to you and all that. So that's the good thing, whether it's a male security officer, female security officer. I don't really like going to a job where I can't communicate with folks, because they messy, or they take their job a little bit too serious. So I do like that. And for the most part, my coworkers, I can pretty much chop it up with them, where there's a couple of seconds hide by. It's cool. We help each other out, if need be. But me, I like to, I can work as a team, but I do work alone. But it's good to know if you need something, shit, we can text each other, hit each other on the walkie, and everything, get done. Because teamwork make the dream work. So, I don't know if this gonna be the last stop for his jobs and retire with it. You never know. That's only person know that is God. But what I do know is he blessed me again with a job opportunity to get back to doing what I need to do for my family. And I do appreciate him for that, because I didn't have to call this job called me. And I'm forever grateful for that. Anytime he give me a job opportunity where I can sit up here and provide for my family, I don't care if it's the same pay as the last, or I don't care if it's the same as the last paying job, or if it's a situation where here I'm making a little bit more. I mean, of course let me not lie. Of course I would love to be making more money, but long as the pay is just not, super, super bad, I'm gonna roll with it. I'm gonna make it do what it do. But hey, like I said, I tell anybody all the time, find your job that appreciates you. I mean, of course, do we hang out after work? No. Do we text each other on the weekend, see if we good? Nah. But I like having a place where I can have a good working relationship, and there's not really no backstabbing situations going on. You got grown men, grown women come in there, do the job. You go your way, I go mine. And I'm put in a situation where I have everything I need to do my job. So that's what's gonna make me get this job, everything I got, because I'm being put in a situation to win versus being put in a situation to lose. And with this job, I don't have to travel as much. My last job, I had to always travel. I always help schools because we understaffed. I always got to hear about what we don't have, what y'all don't have in y'all supplies, and why y'all always understaffed. Answering questions that I shouldn't even have to answer because I'm not the boss. So for that, hey, and on top of that, I'm off on the weekends and certain holiday breaks, so you can't really beat that. I think my next holiday break, holiday I'll be off is Juneteenth. Then probably after that, 4th of July. So I'm looking forward to it. So if you work for a university, you don't get the spring break out. Like when I work for the district, I will have spring break. But hey, it is what it is. Like I said before, you got to give a little bit, take a little bit, give a little bit. But I ain't gonna stay on here too long because it's really kind of hot out here, and it looks like my transportation is coming. But hey, God is good. God will always see you through. Keep that man first, head of your household. Pray to him not just when you need him. Pray to him when say how thankful you are for the opportunities that he's giving you and for the things that you do have. And hey, I'm at 35 subs. Let's get me up to 50 subscribers. So like, comment, share, subscribe. If you got some topics you want me to touch on, hit it up in the comments. And I'll get back to y'all on another topic. I'm out.